Hey guys, Jinxed here, and today I want to show you the Jedge strat for beating the 5-star Jirachi raid in the Christmas event in PokeMMO. This strategy was developed by Jedge, and their written guide is linked in the description below. First, I'll go over what you need to unlock the fight, what the rewards are, the mechanics, what you need, and then I'll show you how it all comes together. To unlock the 5-star Jirachi, you need to have completed all 12 Christmas event raids, and then beat the 4-star Jirachi raid. After that, you have access to the 5-star Jirachi raid. You can do it every 6 hours and it rewards you with 15 blank wish tags, which are valued at about 30k each currently. So it's about 450k per run if you sell them all right now. You can also use these wish tags to adjust the IVs of your own Jirachi that you earned from the 4-star raid. So let's take a look at the mechanics of the fight. These are similar to the 4-star, but they are much more important to understand in this fight. The first mechanic happens during turns 2 and 3. Jirachi will use Doom Desire to do a massive AoE special damage to your team. The second mechanic happens when Jirachi reaches 66.9% HP, usually during turn 3 of the fight. At this point, there will be a type inversion, meaning anything super effective will become not very effective, and anything not very effective will become super effective. Jirachi, being Steel and Psychic type, will now have Normal, Grass, Ice, Flying, Psychic, Rock, Dragon, and Steel become super effective against it, while resisting Fire and the other previously super effective types. The next mechanic happens at 50.9%, where a Protective Barrier comes up. This basically means that you need to apply a -2 to the defense, and then hit it with physical attacks to break through. Otherwise, you'll do basically no damage. Once you land 4 attacks corresponding with the minus you put on it, you'll remove the barrier for the rest of the fight. The final mechanic is Trick Room at 33.9%. This means the fast mons will become slow and slow mons will become fast. Jirachi is a speed of 284 and has the item Room Service, which drops it to 189 speed when Trick Room goes off. You need to be even slower than that though, because the ads are slower than Jirachi. 136 speed is the maximum that you can have here, or 272 if you're using an Iron Ball. With the mechanics out of the way, let's take a look at what you need for the fight. There are a few Pokemon that are mandatory for the run, and some that can be swapped around. I'll go turn by turn, walking you through what's needed for each run. In turn 1, you'll want a Typhlosion with Eruption and Specs. This should have as low HP and special defense as possible, as this is the most likely killer of your run. If it survives, the run's dead. You'll just have to FF and try again. I've had success running mine with Life Orb since Jirachi often hits around 95% on mine, so the extra 10% has ensured that it goes down. However, the Jedge Guide recommends doing it with Specs and a lower HP and special defense IV. This is also the only mon that really requires positioning. It has to be in one of the left positions to make sure that it hits the Clefairy and removes Friend Guard. The next mon you'll want in on turn 1 is either a fast Alakazam or a Prankster Sableye. Make sure when you're running these, they have as low HP and special defense as possible so that they get O-code by Jirachi. Mine has been fine with these stats. The only thing that they're here for is using Gravity. This will increase the accuracy of all your moves so that we can ensure that we can use high power moves that have low accuracy but still have a 100% hit rate. You'll also want a Cottony or Whimsicott with the ability Prankster and Tailwind, and that's pretty much it for them. You can put a Rocky Helmet on both Alakazam or Sableye and Cottony for the extra chip damage if it hits you physically. In the final position for turn 1, you want a hidden ability Ninetales to set Sun, and you'll also want a high special attack and the attack Overheat with either Specs or a Life Orb to maximize the damage. Make sure that it's slightly slower than the Typhlosion so that it goes off after Friend Guard is gone. They have the same base speed, so make sure you adjust your IVs accordingly. It's ideal to have minimal HP and special defense, as anything surviving turn 1 is a dead run. Position it on the right side so that the ad can assist in knocking it out if necessary. For turn 2, you'll want 4 either hidden ability Charizards or Blaze Typhlosions, with 252 HP and 252 special defense EVs, along with the special move Blast Burn. This move can be learned in the northernmost house in Island 2 in Kanto. They all need to be wearing assault gear with these proper EVs in order to tank the hit from the Doom Desire. This turn is pretty straightforward, just Blast Burn it and you'll hit the damage cap. Turn 3 is the one that requires a bit of attention to the state of the fight. One person will need to look at the HP percent that Jirachi has left before choosing their moves. Everything in this turn will use a Focus Sash as their item to tank the Doom Desire. You want 2 people with Sheer Force Darmanitans, but they need a speed difference. The faster one will always Flare Blitz no matter what. The second, slightly slower one, will have to decide between Flare Blitz and Zen Headbutt depending on the HP going into the turn. If Jirachi is 72% or higher at the start of this turn, Darmanitan will use Flare Blitz. If it's at 71.9% or lower, it uses Zen Headbutt. This is because the type inversion happens at 66.9%, so if the first Darmanitan hits, it'll proc the type inversion, and the second one, Flare Blitzing, will do significantly less damage. So instead, you'll Zen Headbutt, which will hit harder. If you're too lazy to keep track of this, it's a pretty rare case, so you could just replace the second Darmanitan with one of the following mons, and you'll be fine in the majority of cases. But it will result in a fail state on the occasional run. The next mon is ideally a maximum special attack Hyper Beam Porygon. This will hit the damage cap quite easily every time. If you don't have this, you can replace it with the Medicham using Headbutt or a Gallade using Psycho Cut. Turn 4 will have one person lead a Prankster Screech Murkrow with Rocky Helmet. This is because the protective shield should be up and we need the -2 defense to break it. The other 3 will have a lot of options on what they can run, but it has to be something that can hit very hard with physical damage. The best options are an Archeops with the Egg Move, Head Smash, and a Life Orb. You can also use Archeops with Giga Impact and a Gem or Choice Band if you don't have the Egg Move. Reckless Staraptor with Brave Bird, Double Edge, or Giga Impact and a corresponding gem or choice band will work. A Cloyster with Icicle Spear and an Ice Gem or choice band will also work, or a Honchkrow with Brave Bird and a gem or band. Going into turn 5, you'll want to set up with one being fast and the other 3 being slow. This is because Trick Room should proc on this turn after the first attack. For the fast mon, you can use a Rampardos with Head Smash and a Choice Scarf, or an Archeops with Head Smash, or a Giga Impact and a gem or band will all work for this role. Staraptor can also work, but make sure you have a high speed IV for it. Around 20 should work, along with Reckless and Brave Bird with a Flying Gem or band. This first attack will proc the Trick Room, so we'll want slow attackers backing it up. Rhyperior with Rock Wrecker and a Choice Band is best here. Apparently Hearthstone works instead of band, according to the Yugi guide, but I haven't tested it myself, so let me know in the comments if you try it out, because maybe we could save a gem by using that. Just make sure you don't have any speed EVs on your Rhyperior. Even though it'll go first over Jirachi with some speed EVs, some of the ads are even slower, and will outspeed you if you have some speed EVs here. According to the Judge Guide, you can also run Metagross with Heavy Slam and a Steel Gem, Aggron with the same, Rampardos with Head Smash, or Snorlax with a Giga Impact and a gem or band. These are all viable alternatives if you have them available to you also. Finally, coming into turn 6, it's super straightforward. You'll just want 4 Gallades with Sharpness, an Iron Ball as their item to slow them down, and Psycho Cut. You can also use Reuniclus with Choice Specs and Psychic if you have a Trick Room build for one. Behemoth can also work with Synchronoise and a gem or Specs. Or you can use a Medicham with Zen Headbutt and an Iron Ball, but I found that this one hits a little bit less hard. Remember that all of your attackers should be plus attack nature, not plus speed nature. This is vital to ensure the success of your runs. We had a run yesterday literally end with 0.0% HP, and when we checked it over, it was just basically coming down to a Gallade with Jolly nature instead of Adamant. I didn't even know you could go to 0.0%, so that was a kind of a funny opportunity for us to learn. So now you know everything you need to know to beat Jirachi. No strat is 100% successful, but this one is very consistent in my testing. Just communicate with your team before the run and ensure you know who is doing what on each turn. I don't recommend calling positions 1, 2, 3, and 4 for the Pokemon in each position according to the guide, since there's multiple written guides floating around. I've seen a couple failed runs due to somebody thinking they're in a role that they're not because P2 meant something in one guide and P2 meant something different in another guide. Instead, I'd recommend just quickly going turn by turn to make sure everyone knows what they're doing. This can require a bit more setup, but is much smoother overall. Otherwise, if you do want to call P1 through 4, please ensure you're following the original guide and not a variant. Otherwise, indicate whose variant you're using. Now with all that out of the way, let's take a look at what a run looks like. Alright, so here we are set up with our correct Typhlosion on the left, Ninetales on the right. So the Typhlosion can take out the Clefairy, while Ninetales, if it survives, will get hit by the Flareon and go down. So we have a smooth start. Even though the Typhlosion and Ninetales didn't hit super hard, we should still be okay here. And that's why positioning matters. You see the Ninetales, if positioned on the left, would have survived there. This turn, very straightforward, just the 4 Blast Burn turn. This is probably the easiest turn out of the whole run. Very important to have your Assault Vest, your HP, and your Special Defense EV investments so that you can survive that Doom Desire. So here when we check, it's 72.4%. This is that case where both Darmanitans are going to Flare Blitz. And now you can see, because it was too high HP, we didn't get the type inversion on the first Flare Blitz, so this is that case where having the backup Darmanitan will save your run compared to just 3 Porygons. So in this run, we just Screech. Because the barrier is up, we're just going to smash it with the 3 physical attacks. Now coming into turn 5, we have a Rampardos set up as the fast one with the Choice Scarf, and the 3 Rhyperiors just using Rock Wrecker as the slow ones. Keep in mind that Jirachi will use Room Service, so its speed will drop down at, once the Trick Room gets activated. And coming into this final turn, we have our 4 Gallade Psycho Cutting. And just like that, Jirachi is down. This is a really good example of why the 2 Darmanitan strat is better than the 1 Darmanitan and 3 Pori strat, because of this kind of case where we would have lost the run if we had 1 Darmanitan and 3 Poris. So I hope this video helps you out in beating the 5-star Jirachi raid. If it did, consider subscribing and leave a like and let me know how it works for you in the comments below. I hope you guys have a fantastic rest of your day and that your Jirachi raids go smoothly. See you guys in the next one.